Keep washing the tractor. I want it clean, Gianna.
My name is Jason Hoosier. I want to tell you quickly about what Hoosier Helpers is. We started this organization to go into nonprofit organizations to ensure that every dollar donated to that organization goes to the people it's intended for. We don't want to see $1,000 gravel driveway or parking lot expense on their books when that $1,000 could benefit others immensely. We're also hoping to encourage others to go into volunteer activities if you have the capacity. And this doesn't have to be volunteering to sack lunches or volunteering for other programs. It can be as simple as volunteering to pick up trash around an area. So encourage you, get out, get involved, try to help your neighbor out. If you have the means or the capability to do something that will benefit somebody else and make their lives a little easier, do it. Hope you enjoy the video. Thanks. After a long delay, we got the hydraulic top link in that I had ordered a few weeks ago. It came in well before Christmas, but I couldn't do anything with it because I was wanting to wait till I went to my parents' house over Christmas, or over New Year's actually, to get the hydraulic lines built. I ordered in the fittings for the connector to the rear outlets. Thanks to Biff's Equipment for pointing me in the right direction on that. Take a trip with me to Kansas here, and I'll show you a little bit of the hose build and also what we went through to get the cylinder adapted to work with this tractor. We'll say the cylinder won't fit on directly as is, as this bracket here is too narrow for the cylinder. I had to shave off quite a bit of material off each side of the ball in order to fit it in, but I used my dad's BX2660 to use as a template to what I needed, how I needed to get it shaped in. So with that, let's go on a road trip. Just pulled my dad's 2350 BX in the shop here for using as a demo. This tractor has...
Oh, you brought the lawnmower up here?
Yep. This tractor has 1,117 hours on it. The reason they went the mails on the tractor is cheaper that way.
Probably.
Because not every tractor is going to have a loader on it. But they put that...
See now, you can get them tractors without that.
Without the loader valve, but most of them come with the loader valve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they order them in with them.
Yep. Well, that was a hell of a trip. I hope you guys enjoyed some of that scenery and that footage of the hoses being built. And here we've got the cylinder. So the main part is done. You can see my hoses are built. It's high pressure hose from Jones. Jones fittings on the adapters. So this is JIC. I believe it's 3H JIC on one side. The other side is going into, actually no, yeah. And then it's JIC on this side. And then it's a Jones JIC to pipe elbow. The reason I did an elbow is going to be pretty apparent here shortly. The other thing that you're going to have to modify if you're going to do this is the top link holding bracket. So what I ended up doing is I just took a piece of pipe, I split it and welded it onto the bracket, the original bracket, and then I cut out the piece that's inside here that would normally be there. And so this should work. I tested on Dad's and it worked fine. Not that I'm going to keep that top link on there. It is nice that if I'm going down to hook onto something, I can kind of hold it up out of the way. So I'm going to install the cylinder now. We still got to do a little more work. I've got to adjust the hoses a little bit, and since they're JIC, I can just take them loose adjust it where it fits best, and then torque it back down. But since Dad's tractor doesn't have the rear remotes on it, I couldn't set it up exactly how it needed to be while I was on the farm. So hang with me and we're gonna get this thing on here. I am noticing though, with the hydraulic lines kit, you used to be able to go in either direction with this pin, but with the hydraulic lines kit, you're gonna have to put it in through the other direction. So there was a lot of discussion from several people about which direction to put the hydraulic hoses. This check valve, this is a double acting check valve or double acting pilot check valve. Essentially, if you do not have pressure on the line, so you're not sending pressure to one side or the other of the cylinder, it won't open that poppet on the check valve. What that's for is if you blow this line or some other system in it, it will lock that cylinder from being able to move. It's a nice safety feature, especially with hoses, to make sure everybody stays safe around it. Probably not required or really not necessary for a little BX tractor, but the cylinder was also still pretty reasonable even with it. You can loosen these nuts off of the steel lines here, and you can index this valve around and clock it to go out this way or this way. It's really up to you. When I was looking at it, I thought this would work the best. I originally thought about coming out the side here and looping the hoses out and around, but I think this will still be fine. The other part that I forget who it was, but one of the guys had suggested actually putting 90s on the quick couplers because the hoses can get into your quick hitch. I just put 90s on the end of the hose. The reason for it, I just needed 2 of them. This is the only implement that I've got that's going to use hydraulics for right now. Maybe eventually I'll change them out, and all it would take would be a pipe 90, and then you can have the hoses pointed this way. So I just got it this way. I put the natural curve of the hose so that it would curve this way. So this is the natural curve of this hose. Whenever you're building hydraulic hoses, it's always important to look at that natural curve because that's the way the hose is going to want to naturally lay. And on both of them, you can see they're both kind of curving the same direction. So this is the extend port. And so using the diagram here, you would typically put this one into the lower of the 2. So do that. And then this would be the upper one. And we're gonna see how well this will lay in here. I already see that I'm gonna have to index this one around a little bit. So I'm gonna get some wrenches here. So with GIC or any tapered flare style fitting, you can just break it loose and then I can get it to lay naturally and then tighten it up. So, snug it a little bit and I'll hold it. Okay. All the other fittings should be tight. On the pipe, I used a pipe dope on them for sealing, and the fittings going into the cylinder itself are actually O-ring. So those are tight, and then the JICs down here are tight. So now it's time to test the cylinder to see if it works. So first of all, let me see if this works. And I don't like that necessarily how that's laying because that's going to get into my seat. But let's see if I can even put the lock in. Nope. Well, now's the time to correct it before we got any hydraulic fluid in it. Normally I'd say let's fire it up and push the cylinder out, but I think it's better to go ahead, and I think I am going to have to index this around. I just hope my hoses are long enough, which I believe they will be, because they can spin down. Since these couplers can rotate, they'll spin down. So let me grab a couple wrenches here, and we're going to take this loose and this side loose. We'll rotate that check valve around, and I think that'll resolve our issue. Kind of liking it at that 45-degree angle. I think that would work nice. So it works. Still got a lot of pressure on those hoses. I think they'll be all right. I just don't like that necessarily. And everything else though. Now, you're never going to ride with it in this high of a position. When you're working, it's going to always be down quite a bit. So it should be all right. I am going to go ahead and start the tractor at this point, and we're going to cycle the cylinder multiple times, try to get all the air out of it, and then I'll have to add some more fluid to replace the fluid that's going to be in the hoses and the cylinder itself. So hang on just a second, I'll start this tractor. There I just stroked it, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. It should be enough to have worked out most of the air. There might be a little bit of trapped air in there, but it should have most of it out. Everything worked fine on it. I don't see any leaks on any of my fittings. I did stall the hydraulics, and if you don't know what the word stall is, it's when you allow the cylinder to come all the way back in. I stalled it multiple times in both directions, and so it did build up pressure and was going over relief at that point. So that should be good. I also want to check my valve install here for any leaking oil. I don't see any. Obviously we checked it the other day when I installed that valve, and if you haven't seen that video, take a look at the rear hydraulics install video. It gives you step-by-step instructions for installing the auxiliary rear hydraulic kit for the BX models. That'll be for the 2350, 60, and 70. It's all the same. Other than that, I think that's a success. Now the one last step I want to do is go get my box blade and hook on and actually see how much up and down I can get out of it. So that'll be it. hooked onto the bad boy box blade here, and we're going to actually do a demonstration of this new hydraulic top link. Still don't have all the air worked out of it, but I'm going to hope to get some of that worked out during this demonstration as well. So next thing I know, I'm going to start the tractor. It looks like we're angling a little bit, so shouldn't be a big deal. Maybe it's not. But I'm going to cycle it through the different ranges of the top link, make sure there's no binding any place in that range, and also go up and down with the 3-point hitch, making sure that I'm still getting my max travel out of both the 3-point hitch and the top link. So I'm going to start it up now. So with the tractor in a fully raised position on the 3-point hitch and the top link fully stroked, I'm actually hitting the rear cutting edge of the box blade. So not that this would ever be an effective use of the tool, but it's actually a good indication that the stroke of the cylinder is more than I'll ever need for this implement. We're going to go back the other way, and I want to see, if you remember from the previous video when we were actually measuring which top link to buy, this one should have about 1 inch of travel past the point where the box blade is setting perfectly level. So I want to see just how much it will actually rock up, and then how much that will add additional engagement of the GET in the front blade. So we're going to start it up now and check that. So what we did on the last one, we were actually measuring this top link. We used a level on the box blade itself to see where I was when I was setting level. Right now, the front would have to be raised up about 1/2 inch in order for it to be level. And so raising it up would be effectively stroking it out. So this is, when we measured it, we were going to have about 1 inch of travel here on the cylinder in order, 1 inch of it would be extended and the box blade should be level. And right now we're seeing that it's definitely leaning down in the front, so it's 1/2 inch over 2 foot. And that should be enough for front engagement of those scarifiers and the front cutting edge to ensure that we cut on the front. And then obviously with the cylinder fully extended, we're definitely going to get that rear blade action that I wasn't able to get while using this without having to jump off every little bit. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to go through some of the cycles of the cylinder here, and I'll change the camera angle so you get a better view of it. But I'm really pleased with the way the hoses turned out, the angle at which I put the double pilot check valve in. It seems to let the hoses lay natural or as close to natural as possible, and throughout the entire range of motion. You may see that the cylinder goes down a little bit further on other implements, but for my tiller and this box blade, I think it'll be fine. There was a comment in one of the previous videos, I think it was when I was selecting the right top link, one of the viewers asked or stated more that they would probably buy a quick hitch before they bought a cylinder. I get that, and I do believe that that's probably a good option for a lot of people. I'm not going to probably get a quick hitch for this tractor. The reason for it is your implements are further back behind you, and for what I do, tilling and using a box blade, I don't see that those tools are used at the same time most of the time. You're going to use the box blade or you're going to use the tiller. With that, I'm just going to show you some footage here, and if you do like the video, please hit the subscribe button. If you like the rest of our videos, check them out. We've got a video on which top link to select. We also have a video on the rear hydraulics installation. That's a really good one if you're looking to do this. We've got a video on this box blade, the review of this box blade. We also have a video on using this box blade. There's tons of videos out there. All right, now I'm going to start just some stroking of the different cylinders. I'm going to set the cameras up from 2 different angles so that you can see exactly the range of motion using this hydraulic top link and in combination with the 3-point hitch stroke. For this episode of Hoosier Helpers. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you don't mind, please hit that subscribe button, press the like button if you enjoyed the video, check out some of our past videos that we've done, and also hit that little bell button. That'll give you good reminders of every time that we release new videos. So thanks, and have a great day. Bye.